When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink, but I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds. I love chic branding, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Zoe, and you're listening to Climbing in Heels for your weekly dose of glamour, inspiration, and, of course, fun. Well, the time has finally come. So many of you have been commenting on my Instagram or sending DMs that you're rewatching the Rachel Zoe Project. So I thought it was finally time to rewatch season 1 myself and give you a little behind-the-scenes insights on what was really going down. A few guests and visitors will be popping in to help me break it all down, and I'm joined by my producer, Mary Elizabeth, to keep me on track. So here goes nothing, because I am asked probably every other day about my former assistants on the show, being Brad and Taylor. And, you know, I'm not doing this series to talk about Brad and Taylor. I'm going to make it real easy. I don't talk to either of them.
Yep.
I am not friends with either of them. I don't know what they're doing, and I wish them well. And so I'm not here to answer a million questions about my relationship with them. So I just want to lay that out there on the table. This is not a,
You wish them well.
I wish them well, and
We're going to rewatch through your eyes.
exactly.
Amazing.
Which is, by the way, I'd like to also throw it out there, really hard for me. Really hard for me. It's a little bit of like, this is your life.
So Rachel literally just watched episode 1 with me and another colleague of ours. And how are you feeling? How do you
Weird.
feel overall?
I feel completely weird.
You feel weird.
I
Okay.
feel weird. I feel like I kind of know why everyone makes fun of my voice. I don't know why I talk like this. I guess it was my birth-given voice.
Yep.
But it really sounds crazy to me. I cannot believe how much hair and makeup I actually had on. And it was funny because Joey Maloof, who, I still speak to now and then, and he'll just be like, I can't believe you didn't fire me after the first season for making you look that crazy.
See,
I'm like, I agree.
I'm in the court of opinion that you looked like yourself. You just had darker eye makeup on.
I think we just didn't know like what the camera would show or not show.
Totally.
And so I think in Joey's defense, I think he just piled it on thinking
Yeah.
like, typically if you're in like TV lighting,
Right.
which we were not.
You're in reality show. So you're going in and out of like actual setup lights to
Yeah.
natural light to a little bit of light.
You could see the really intense bags under my eyes light. Yes. Yes.
How do you feel when you hear the theme music? I
mean-
haven't heard it in so long that it just made me like smile. I was just like, oh my God, we're going back finally.
I think I'm really like sort of reliving again, like this is your life. Like I have all these girlfriends now that are like, oh my God, I'm binging it again. Oh my God, let's do a viewing party. Let's whatever. And when you did this, it's what? And I'm like, wow, it's a blur. And I think for me, it's completely wild to watch. And I feel myself inside my head when I watch it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you can go back there mentally.
I remember like how I was feeling in
That's a
those
good thing.
moments.
That's a good thing.
I will say I do seem completely unaware that there was a camera on me, which I can't figure out was a good or bad thing, but maybe that really kept the authenticity of the show.
Well, look, we're season 1, episode 1. You're a newbie.
Yeah.
You're a newbie. And one of my favorite things was that your intro video package is you shopping for vintage.
Yeah.
Which I'm sad to say doesn't really happen that often anymore.
Well, I think if you watch the show, which happened over 5 years, right? If you could even just take in what I shopped for in those 5 years, one may argue I don't need anything for the rest of my life, and then add on another 10 years to that. And I think I do shop now, but much more specifically. Like now it's sort of like, okay, I have a major event. What vintage couture gown would I look for now or something? Right. Or I pull from my archives a lot. So
you were really, I mean, you really were shopping a lot, it seems like.
I also was truthfully making so much money and didn't have children.
Right.
So, and Roger was making, so like we were the classic example of like, we were successful.
Have you heard of DINK?
Yes, exactly.
DINK.
We were
the dual
DINK.
income,
we were
no
dual,
kid.
Yes, we were dual income, no kids. And Roger and I have a lot of laughs about this sort of lack of stress, real life stress we didn't have in those days because we had no kids. And so I think when you're both making money and living pretty well, it's like there's that disposable income that goes to clothes.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So the episode kicks right in with a fitting. You're fitting for Joy Bryant, who was a client of yours for a while, right? Yeah. A couple years.
Yeah.
And she's going to the Art of Elysium Gala, which is a Vogue event in Los Angeles. And we, as an audience, get to see your studio for the first time, which was also your home.
Yeah.
So, you've been doing work from home before.
Long before work from home was a thing.
Long before there was a pandemic. What was it like having your studio in your home?
I mean, to me, it was natural. I never wanted anything else. I always, here's the thing. I was working at such a pace that if my office was not in my home, I would have never been home.
Right.
Because the clients I was working with, a lot of them were on major television shows like Jen Garner and people like that. So their schedules were so insane that like I had to go to their trailers on their like dinner break, which sometimes was like midnight.
Right.
Was dinner break based on when they started.
When they got to set.
So I think for me, having a husband and trying to like have some tiny drop of home time.
Yes.
I had to have it in my home. And also like throughout my entire career, my social life and my work life were the same.
Yeah.
All of my friends were in the industry.
It was blended.
It was blended.
Right.
And so there was no like.
And that studio / your home was pretty centrally located to where you needed to be
100%.
Most of the time?
Yeah, because we were in the Hollywood. We were in the West Hollywood up Sunset Plaza. And so we, my clients were basically like 10 minutes in either direction.
Sure.
But most of them came to the studio.
Right.
Most of them came to the studio. And then the others, I would go to them that were like the, like I said, like the Jen Garners or Salma Hayek's. And it was a mix of both, depending on their schedules.
Right.
So I would always give them the option. Some of them preferred to do it in my studio.
Right.
Because it's less invasive to
them.
Sure.
And everything you need as a stylist is there, or you can put it all in one place.
Correct.
So hopefully it even is more efficient too. You move faster.
For us, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a scene where Joy Bryant puts on a Jean-Baptiste dress. It doesn't work out. It kicks us off into where we need to find Joy more looks.
Yep.
But question, Joy is going, so in your studio, the way it's laid out, there was a table in the middle, the racks are around the room. Joy is going up the stairs and coming back in the dress. So where were your clients changing? Was there a bathroom up there?
There was an office, like an actual office with desk, and then there was my room and a guest room.
Okay.
So yeah, she was changing in my room because she was
Somewhere
also a close friend.
Right, yeah.
So, and don't forget, like Brad was new. So these girls were not like stripping in front of him yet.
Sure.
And that was the first time I had a boy working for me.
Ever.
Ever.
So you got this question a lot. Was Brad hired before the show, or was he already going to work for you and then that happened?
No.
Or was he hired as a add-on for the show?
He was hired for the show.
Okay.
But I needed another assistant.
So two things were true.
Correct.
Okay.
So the idea was that I hired him because I needed another assistant actually for my job, but I also wanted someone who was comfortable on camera.
Sure. Right. That makes sense. Okay. Got that. So
and he actually, as it turned out, wanted to be an actor. So
there you go.
Didn't know that.
The more you know.
There you go.
The more you know. So it doesn't work out for Joy with the dresses that you have in the studio. So then
and Joy, for those of you that don't know, is beautiful actor and on a lot of things at that time. And she was a huge fashion darling in a Vogue, loved very much by Vogue.
And stunningly beautiful.
Stunningly beautiful and the sweetest, coolest girl ever. So
yeah, she definitely gives that vibe off for sure.
And super fun to dress.
So then you venture to a place to seemingly pull more looks for Joy, aka you shop yourself at Decades. So tell everybody about Decades, what it is, what it was.
Well, Decades still is here, and it was at the time one of the number one and also one of the very first like luxury vintage shops in Los Angeles. I mean, it's got to be 20 years old now. Cameron Silver is the founder. It still exists. It's still a huge destination online and in person. He then launched a part that was also like sort of newer more modern resale. So he was one of the very first to do that as well, of designer clothes. But I know Cameron as sort of one of the best finders, dealers of proper vintage and vintage couture. And even before I moved to LA, I would go see Cameron. Cameron Silver, founder of the iconic Decades, is a longtime friend of mine and wanted to share his thoughts on the show.
I remember shooting the scissor reel for the Rachel Zoe Project. And this was really before non-scripted and fashion television had merged together. So Rachel was really the first to create a reality television show about fashion and styling and Hollywood dressing. So there was a lot of interest when the show became part of a series. And still to this day, all of these years later, people will say, oh, I first knew about Decades because of the Rachel Zoe Project. And I remember Rachel coming into Decades and wanting a Birkin or an evening gown. So it's really nice to have those memories and realize how the show was an incredible part of demystifying Hollywood and red carpet dressing and vintage. And it really all started with Rachel.
I love you so much, Cameron. And thank you.
Right.
And, get something. I mean, I never left there empty-handed ever.
He's your Willy Wonka.
Yeah, 100%. I had to hide things from Roger. Crazy.
I mean, you do touch on that in the show. You're basically, alluding to the fact that you do sneak a little shopping by Roger.
Yeah, all the time.
I think
Who doesn't?
You also are contemplating buying a Birkin. I don't know if you did that day.
I can't remember because I don't remember. What was the color?
Oh, gosh. I think it was you're holding like a chestnut brown one. And then you're looking at one that's black that has I want to say red piping around it.
I didn't get the red piping, but I did
Do you
get
remember
the
what I'm
chestnut.
saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't get the red piping, but I got the chestnut.
Okay. Well, see. And then we also were saying the Chanel necklace that you pulled from Decades during the scene.
And I definitely got that.
Where did she go?
I don't know. But I'd love to find her because I'd really love to wear her.
Do you think she's in your mom's jewelry collection?
There is a chance that my mother, life is this big full circle because half of what I own I stole from my mother's closet and she still to this day doesn't even know it's missing. And until I wear it, she'll be like, is that mine?
Right.
And now when my mom comes to visit, I'll catch her in my closet. And all of a sudden she's in my car with my sunglasses or an earring. She's like, I just thought I'd try these. I'm like, did you want to ask?
Right. Hello?
She's like, I'm your mother. I'm like, you still have to ask. I'm a Virgo. You don't take things from me.
No. So I wonder where that necklace went, but
yeah, I'm a little upset about it actually.
I hope it turns up one day because it's a beautiful, massive, that's the other thing. It's almost too big to lose.
Right. So where is it?
Where is it?
Where is she?
The mystery will continue. Okay, so then you have a scene about you're needing to go on a trip to New York. You're leaving Taylor to keep pulling for Joy because you guys haven't found the right thing yet. And you're going to take Brad. So a lot of the questions we're getting and seeing is, was the dynamic between the two of them really that intense in terms of she very much disliked him
she hated him
and thought he wasn't doing a very good job, or was it for camera.
No, she hated him.
She didn't actually like him.
No, she wanted to torture him because she thought he was better than everyone. She thought I was babying him. She thought I favored him.
Okay.
She thought he was entitled. Like, yeah.
So that wasn't necessarily, that was happening in real life, and it was translated to the show.
Yeah, she was annoyed. She's like, he's lazy and he sucks.
He was annoyed. Okay. Gotcha. Because it did.
But Taylor was always annoyed.
But it did, yes. It definitely comes off that way for sure. Because it also feels like kind of that like Devil Wears Prada moment where Emily was going to go to Paris Fashion Week. And then you know, Andy gets to go, and it kind of has that vibe to it.
And in hindsight, like I really did give him too much too soon. Like I don't know what, because I think he was very like, as my son calls it, glazing. So like,
right.
You know, which is always like, you look beautiful. This client, like he was always so sweet about it.
Right.
And, you know,
yeah, you say in one of the scenes, you were like,
or not.
You were like, gotta throw him in the deep end to see what happens.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's a little bit like learning to swim, but I, you know, the theory is, do you tread? Do you teach them bit by bit, or do you just throw them in the water? Right. But I will say with me, I mean, I was thrown right into it, and I learned really quick, and no one handed me anything. No one taught me anything.
Right.
And so there's part of me that's sort of like, let's just see what he's made of. Like, can he handle this? Because you know right away at that point, like, he can't handle it or he can.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It makes sense if you experienced that growing up or, like, coming up, that would be how you would also expect others who are learning and working under you to work.
But
like,
and also
kind of like, here, take a lot and see how
100
the cookie crumbles.
But the other thing is Taylor was very, very clear. She didn't want attention and she didn't want to go to New York. She didn't, as you can see in the show, like she complained about everything.
Right.
So like she was not, it was not like, don't take him, take me.
Sure.
It wasn't that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could totally
It was
see
sort
that.
of like take him or nobody, I guess.
Right, because I don't care.
I don't think she was trying to go.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
At least that's how I felt.
You then have a scene with Roger at Earth Cafe, which Earth Cafe is such an iconic LA institution.
It's
that
like what Air One is now.
Right. It gave me all the feels. So give us a little like Earth Cafe tea.
Well, Earth Cafe was like, I mean, it's still here and they're still packed 24/7.
All the time.
Wild. But the one on like Melrose and Westbourne, I think I've been going to since I was 21 years old, since I first came to LA.
And at that time, the paparazzi culture was so crazy that everyone was getting their photo taken outside of Earth Cafe, outside of Kitson, outside of that whole paparazzi era was at its height.
And the Ivy.
Right, the Ivy.
Coffee Bean and the whole thing.
Yeah, so to see the Earth Cafe logo, it made me so happy. I was like, oh my God.
And it's still exactly the same.
It's still the same. It's still so funny.
Still no waiters.
No waiters.
You have to wait online.
That's right. You order at the counter and then you sit down if you can get a table.
Yes.
That's also part of the fun of Earth Cafe.
Yep.
Okay, so you do end up going to New York. You go into Michael Kors' showroom, which is very special to you. He is very special to you.
Well, yes. And I'll tell you the most amazing thing about Michael was you have to remember, and by the way, still about Michael, is that at that time I was one of the very, very first television shows, like docuseries. So like, I think what was before me, The Real World or something was before me. I think.
there was a few reality show concepts, but it wasn't nearly as commonplace as unscripted TV is now.
Right, and it wasn't docuseries. It was a little more format.
Totally.
And so I think the fashion world was terrified, and they were already like wanting to see me go down. So most of the people that I would have wanted to ask, most of them were like, oh, no. Like the real like fashion people were like, oh, no, we don't do television. That's way too commercial for us.
I see.
So it was like a huge flat no. And Michael, being not only kind and not only incredibly successful and not only a friend, but was like, yeah, I get the marketing power of what this could be.
Sure.
And so he was like, sure, like this sounds fun. Great. Like, Michael, Oscar, a handful of others, but not what you would think. Whereas I think today everyone would do it.
Oh, absolutely. It's so interesting that so many people were rubbed the wrong way, if you will, about television or about like shining a light on fashion. It's almost like they were wanting to keep it all for themselves or they were just afraid of it becoming too commercialized.
Yeah.
So interesting.
I think they were just too cool for school. It's like why LA wasn't cool.
Right.
Same concept.
It was like cheesy.
Yeah. Juicy sweats and
that makes sense. Well,
butt
Michael
cracks.
Kors is a legend. It's endearing now to see the conversation you guys have in that scene because you're talking to him about having your own brand and creating your own products one day, which you've now done a lot of. And then you also say, Michael, when am I supposed to have time to have a baby? Which is really sweet.
Which is so funny because that was like 5 years before I did or 4 years before I actually did.
Yeah. And
I was thinking about talking about thinking about it.
Right. It was like sort of in your mind. And it was so funny because he said, oh, you'll just have like one of the fashion babies where you go in for a cesarean on the 20th and you're in a Lycra dress on the 25th. Like ready to go, keep moving, keep shaking.
That's exactly what he did. And I think a lot of fashion girls like have them in between collections.
He was hilarious in that advice, and you literally took his advice.
I did, and he was so funny, and he was so sweet, and we had so much fun, and then so many designers followed him. That was the thing, like so many people were like, "Oh, well, Michael did it. Oh, well, Diane von Furstenberg did it." In hindsight, when I think about it, the people that did it are genius marketers and know the power of PR and marketing,
right?
In addition to obviously their talent, but I think amplification,
right,
of
and
a brand.
Again, this was before like Facebook and Instagram took off, so this was a different kind of marketing strategy,
100%
before social media. But yeah, he's lovely in that scene, and he's obviously a very
so fun,
beloved designer. So then you head into this branding meeting. You call Roger. He's back in LA, in the sunshine. You're on a loud street saying that you're nervous, wishing he was here. So when did you traveled by yourself? Which was like, I'm like, what?
But I probably didn't.
You probably did. Well, Brad did go.
Right. Brad did go.
But for anyone who knows Rachel now, she like only flies with Roger.
Yeah,
like
only fly with, well, you and I just flew together.
Right.
I have to fly with a safe person.
Yeah. But before that, you used to be on planes by yourself all the time.
Oh, when I was styling, I flew everywhere all the time. But I still like got super anxious before I got on the plane. I would have like a mild panic attack.
Yeah,
I'm not a great flyer.
Right.
I'm not. Still not. And really not. Still.
Yeah.
and really not.
Yeah, I think we did an episode about that actually. So looking back on you sitting in that branding meeting, what did you feel?
It's pretty wild because what I remember very clearly when I watched that is how genuine I was, meaning nothing I said or did was for the show, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they would say to me, oh, Rachel, we need this from you. And I just kind of like ignored them and just like, I did me because I just felt like I wasn't going to lie to people. And like just being my authentic self was very important to me in the show.
Yeah.
And being unscripted. And, of course, there's like those interview things, in between where they try and get information about the scenes and stuff, and that's fine. But I think in terms of us shooting, especially in something like that, I remember feeling very torn and in a tug of war within myself because I loved styling so much and I loved what I was doing so much and I loved my clients so much.
Yeah.
But I was working 24/7 and I was also trying to figure out, it was very obvious to me, or starting to be very obvious to me, that my clients wanted me there. And if I couldn't be there, they didn't really want my assistants there.
Sure.
And I, I understand it because, when I think about it, it's sort of like if I'm hiring a lawyer and I'm paying that lawyer.
Yep.
I don't want their associate. I want them.
Right.
Right?
Of course.
So I get that. The problem is being a stylist is very hard to scale because it's based on you.
Right.
You don't have anything tangible. You don't own anything.
Yes.
So it's a service business. When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I'm constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cup is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
My dad works in B2B marketing, but I never really knew what that meant. Then one day my dad came by my school for career day and told everyone in my class he was a big MQL man. Then he just kept saying things like, the more MQLs, the better, over and over. My friends still laugh at me to this day. I think it means marketing qualified lead. One thing's for sure, I'll be known as the MQL man's kid for the rest of my days. Why couldn't you just be a fireman or a lawyer? Why? You ruined my life, Dad.
Not everyone gets B2B, but LinkedIn has the people who do. And with ads on LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people based on job title, industry, likelihood to buy, and more. Start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/customer to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/customer. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So, buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic. oracle.com/strategic.
When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I am constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cup is great for their very, very active days. Smart water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more. When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I am constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cap is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more. And so I was sort of trying to figure out where I land in the future, because I don't think it's sustainable to do this forever. Mm-hmm. And so I had all these opportunities coming at me, like, you know, we want to take the Rachel Zoe brand. It's a household name. We want to do bedding, and we want to do kids, and we want to do champagne glasses, and we want to do, you know, housewares and all these things. Fragrance and sunglasses and all these things that are signature to you. And that really excited me a lot. And then I thought, okay, I barely have time to take a shower. So how am I doing that without letting down my clients?
Right.
And so I think for me, that was a daily struggle, you know, that I was dealing with every day.
Right.
And I was really thinking about it. And you know me, like, I don't stop thinking.
Opportunities are coming in. You want to be able to like jump on it, ride the lightning, but it's going to be at a cost of the relationship you have with your clients, or hinder the amount of work you're able to do for each client.
Correct.
Which totally, I could definitely see that. But isn't it crazy for you to watch that branding meeting now when you've had so many opportunities now that like the Rachel Zoe name, label, brand is absolutely out there in the world and successful, and people talk to you about it all the time, and they're interested in your products, and like, isn't that like a pinch me, like a dream come true? Like, well, you made it happen.
Well, it's weird because I have not watched my show until just now. I have not watched my show since
2008.
15, 14, whenever I finished it. 13,
whenever you finished
14,
it. Oh, okay. I thought you were going to like,
no, I just mean like I really haven't watched it.
No, I know.
And I think, so it's hard for me to sort of be like, wow, I dreamed all these things and look, they happened, until like as we're sitting here talking, because I don't know that I remembered dreaming them, because they've happened in real time. So it's sort of like, I think like life happens so fast.
Right.
And I think the most polarizing part of my life has been becoming a mother. And so for the last 13 years, it's almost like being a mom is up here, and then all of these businesses and opportunities are like right under that. So I think there's like this like mask over it a little bit, where you're like, be the best mom, be the best at work.
The woman who was sitting in that chair, who was so scared to have that meeting, A, because you were scared about what they were going to present to you, but B, you didn't have Roger, your safe person there. You did it yourself, and now you can look back and say that girl sitting in that chair definitely did what she set out to do.
Yeah. And it's also weird because,
and then some.
And by the way, I'd like to also note, none of it was with those people that I had a meeting with.
True. But
putting that out there.
And it happened a little bit later.
Yes.
In a big way, it happened a little bit later. But You should be proud of yourself.
I mean, I guess I am. I mean, I guess, like, yes. I mean, it's really amazing to see. And I think, you know, I always kind of joke that my life has been a blur. And I think when I do interviews or we talk like this, and I'm like, yes, all of that did happen. And
it did
wow.
in fact happen.
And, you know, I think busy woman would probably say there aren't really so many moments where you stop and pat yourself, right?
Sure.
And then I think now I would say, you know, I still have a lot left to do. I still love what I do.
Yeah.
I have the greatest team in the world. I don't have people that make me uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
And I think, you know, I think that comes with experience,
Yeah.
time, age, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think definitely you've seen
A lot.
a lot more than that girl that sat at the end of that conference table.
Yeah. I think the naive part of me has gone out the window.
Right, right. So you do say one of your quotes in episode 1 is,
God.
fashion puts me to sleep at night and wakes me up in the morning. Do you think that's still true? I mean, other than physically your kids being
Yes.
like, mom.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say in the literal sense, my kids put me to sleep and they literally wake me up.
Right,
I haven't
right,
set
right.
my alarm in 13 years. But I would say in some respect, yes.
You still feel that passionate about,
I do, but different.
okay.
I do, but different because fashion is, you know, I will say this. When I walk into my archive, I still light up.
Yes.
I light up. I light up and I look at the things in my archive as if every single piece in there is a piece of my life. Like I really genuinely do. And I have no regrets about spending the most ridiculously insane amounts of money on my collection because I look at every single thing as a story.
Yes.
And I would say that fashion, it is still a huge part of me and a part of my soul for sure.
Yeah.
And I think I always look through a lens of fashion
Right.
in everything I do because I'm constantly changing things and wanting things to look pretty. And my sister was just here and she just laughs at me because she's like, go to sleep. And I'm like rearranging things in the kitchen and the way the candle is and the book is sitting or whatever. She's like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I'm like, what is wrong with you that this doesn't bother you?
Right, right. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you?
I mean, so the answer is yes, just different.
It's okay. Okay. Yes, but different.
You have different worries. I'm not worrying about Cameron Diaz's shoe
Right.
that may not work with her Dior couture gown she's wearing for the Oscars.
Right.
So I don't think about that anymore,
Gotcha.
which is comforting
yeah.
because that was a really noisy place to be in my head.
Oh God, I'm sure. I'm sure.
And by the way, at no fault of Cameron's.
No, not at all.
It's my own psychotic self that would just lie awake staring at the ceiling or like worrying that Brad Pitt's jeans weren't going to fit right or they weren't going to be worn in properly to his liking.
You've given yourself a title of psychostylist disease.
Yes.
And it's true.
I am plagued with it for life.
And you still have it.
It just came out
You still
last
have
weekend
it.
with Sky.
Oh, I know. It's never, it's in your DNA. It's never going away. Never going away. Another standout about episode 1 for me was that you have a scene in a sushi restaurant. And I literally laughed out loud because if anybody knows anything about Rachel, like I don't think
I don't need sushi.
I've never, and you've lived in LA for a long time now. And she has never, ever ventured into the sushi realm.
Or an Asian restaurant. I can't eat it.
Right.
I'm literally allergic to it. There's something in it that I'm highly allergic to that I developed later in life. Like in my early 20s, I all of a sudden just would like fall on the floor in pain from eating any.
Oh, no.
And by the way, like that said, like Thai Vietnamese food is my favorite, like or French Vietnamese food at like Indochine and stuff. Or it's the best food in the world. My favorite. And I just but sushi is a no-fly zone for me. I don't eat raw fish. It's gross.
So when I saw the placement for this scene, I was literally like, 1,000%. This has nothing to do with you. Yeah. This was a production was like, let's go to this sushi spot. We're gonna film a scene about X, Y, and Z. You guys sort of reprimanding Taylor about being too hard on Brad, essentially.
A lot of scenes, a lot of locations that you see are typically because they allowed us to shoot there.
Right.
Yes.
They were
100%
permitted to shoot. Yeah. Anyways, I thought that was so
1000%.
funny. I was like, oh my God, Rachel was at a sushi restaurant.
Nope, never.
You've changed a lot.
Said no one.
You've changed a lot. Okay, so the episode towards the end, you guys finally find the right dress for Joy.
Yes.
For Art of Elysium.
It's the red Zach, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous Zach Posen red gown. She looks so beautiful, so stunning. And the best part that's still so fucking true is you get Joy ready. She's literally coming over, or this could be real life or production. I don't know how this panned out timeline wise, but she's supposed to be going like to the event from your studio. Like it's like
and
she's
I'm
there.
supposed to go with her.
It's
right?
last minute, right? And you're like fumbling around, and of course Rachel has no idea what she's gonna wear because you were also attending the Art of Elysium, and I'm like, wow, that shit is still true.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't often know what you're going to wear until you're flying out the door.
Like, actually, I really don't. I can't commit to it. I can't think about it. I was so much more obsessed with what my clients were wearing than what I was wearing.
Yeah.
Like 1,000%.
You even talk about that. You're like,
Yeah.
the joy for me is seeing them light up and them feel
100%.
beautiful. And you just like, but what did you end up throwing on?
It was like a vintage, not Aussie Clark. It was a vintage, like, not Sandra Rhodes. It's on my head. It was this black strapless from my archive.
It's
it was
stunning.
Like this gorgeous, like black strapless with like white tiers with black trim.
Is it like tissue chiffon or something?
I think it was Skazi. I think it was a vintage Skazi gown, and it was chiffon.
It looks so like delicate and beautiful.
It was super comfortable, and I'm just laughing because I think about it, and I'm like, you know, it's funny because, you know, it's such a girl thing, like a jealous girl thing when they go, what are you wearing? And sometimes girls are like, I don't know, when they fully know.
But the gatekeeping.
The gatekeeping. Yeah. And my friends know me so well that they actually know I don't know.
Right.
I'm not keeping it from you. I actually don't know.
You actually have 35,000 brand names going through your head at any given second.
Yes.
So another takeaway, you have your hair half up and half down.
I know, which I hate so much. And I looked at that and I hated it so much.
What is your beef with that?
I hate it.
Why?
I hate it. I think because...
Like, what is the trauma
I'll tell
about
you,
half up hair?
The trauma is, I think it reads Homecoming Queen a little to me.
Okay.
And it reads when I was little.
Okay.
I think my mom did that with barrettes a lot.
Okay.
And when I look back, it really made my ears stick out. And I didn't like it. And I don't even have big ears. I actually weirdly have small ears. But
you've never had big ears.
It seems very bridesmaid.
Bridesmaid.
But not in the good way.
Because didn't you used to argue or bicker with Jennifer Garner about that? Like, she wanted to wear half up, half down hair, and you'd be like, over my dead body?
I'm pretty sure I got in a few fights with a deer about half up, half down.
Because he liked it? Or he was on your camp? Okay.
He liked it, and I didn't. And I was like, do anything you want. Just don't do half up, half down. And one time he did it, and he called me, goes,
whoops.
It just really was the best thing for the dress. And I'm like, no, was it? But one of two disagreements I ever got in with a deer.
Really? I couldn't imagine you fighting with him over anything.
It wasn't a real fight.
Right.
It was like
it was just
fight.
like
But I was deeply disheartened. I was really upset about it. But that's my point.
Yeah.
Those things don't put me to sleep anymore. The anxiety, and when I tell you it was a polarizing panic that I would have about these things, and I very clearly remember like middle of the night panics, like sweats, like cold sweats about gowns not showing up for a huge event, shoes not being dyed the right color, like the client not being happy, the jewelry was taken by an evil stylist that hated me, or like, you know, my first choice Valentino went to another stylist. Like, those were the things that were really polarizing at that time. And I don't know that those kinds of things happen as much now. Yeah. Because I really don't hear that a lot from stylists that I'm friends with.
I feel like the industry is very different than when you...
I think the evil pettiness doesn't exist the way it did.
Yeah.
And I think the we used to have to fight for the dress off the runway. Like I would almost like tackle the model. Like I would just be like, give this to me. And I would like literally go backstage after the show and literally say to Oscar, like, I want look 112, whatever. And then they'd have to go to sales, and then Bergdorf needed to see it. And, and then we would wait, and we would get it literally like the morning of the event.
Right.
And, it was terrifying.
That is reflected in the show. I mean, definitely. Oh, yeah. As we keep rewatching,
that was real.
That is real.
That is so real.
Okay.
I cannot explain to you. And
oh God, that's so
And in
stressful.
hindsight, like it's weird because I knew very clearly that we weren't saving lives. I knew very clearly this was not brain surgery. This was not saving lives in any way, and these were not real life problems. But in the moment, with the amount of pressure from the actor or the musician or whoever I was working with, the amount of pressure from the studio, the publicists, the hair and makeup people, the teams, right? That were hiring you, that were paying you. For me, the panic was generated, and you know me well enough now after 12 years, I cannot let a client down. Yeah. And that for me was a polarizing feeling that pretty much governed my existence as a stylist. Mm-hmm. I want my client to be the happiest, most confident that they can ever be. And if they don't feel fucking amazing when they go out there, I suck.
Right.
And that was
a lot of pressure.
That was my thing. And and then you have all those people looking at you, and and also it's that thing where like, because I was considered to be the best,
you're right.
It's sort of like, you got to stay there.
Right.
You can't fuck up.
No. I mean, nor do you want to. Like, you're such a person.
No. But that's what I'm saying. I was driven by the way that like Cameron would look at me, or the way that Ava or Selma or Kira or Kate or any of these people, the way that they relied on me to deliver. It's sort of like, no matter how nice they were, you still had that, you carried that responsibility. And I think it's important to understand, not to get too deep, but like, coming off the Daily Front Row Awards recently, where, stylists spoke about what it means. Hairstylist Adir talked about the power of hair. And I think as a stylist, for me, it was never about the dress.
Sure.
It was about what they were going through in that moment, and how terrifying it is to put yourself out there in front of the world. And if you don't feel your best, you're shit. You feel like shit.
Yeah.
And listen, you've been with me enough where when I'm, and I am no one compared to any of these people, but on the smaller scale, when I feel like, oh, my hair is shit, my face is shit, my skin, I'm tired, I look like crap, there's like tears that come out, because there's this like anxiety and nerves that overcome you. And there are a few clients that I was lucky enough to work with that had that innate confidence, where they didn't have that insecurity that could be polarizing, like Kate Hudson, that would like throw on the dress and be like, babe, let's do it,
Stunning.
Yeah.
Still.
I mean, it's
still, Yeah. I mean, I get that. You definitely, I think, to your credit, have made all of your clients feel like their most beautiful, best, sexiest, most confident selves.
Well, listen, I would say that right before I retired from styling, or I should say took a long pause.
Sure.
Was one of my greatest styling moments with Jennifer Lawrence. And I'll never forget it, because she looked at herself in the mirror, and it was right after I had Caius. And she looked at herself in the mirror right as she walked out the door, and I was holding her big train to make her lay down in the car.
Yeah.
And she said, it's fine if I don't win, because I look the best. And she said it in her typical like Jen Lawrence funny self.
Of course,
like,
of course,
I fucking look good,
right.
And then at that point, I just was like, I'm done.
Right.
Like that, I'm good now.
That is the job.
That was the job.
Right.
And I just said, like, I can be done now.
Right. So much of it is out of your control. So much of it relies on other elements coming together for the perfect thing. But At the end of the day, it's a service industry. If your client looks at you and says, I feel amazing, it's like you checked.
That's it.
Did it.
Yep.
It can be that simple. It's not. Takes
Right.
a lot.
Yes.
But ultimately, the payoff, sign off, is when your client goes, I feel so beautiful.
Yes.
And that's all you need.
100%.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, we did have a lot of questions come in that we didn't talk about that I do want to hit on before we wrap up about episode 1.
Okay.
Can you bring back the layering of the long tank top over a cropped jacket? It looks so comfortable. I think we need it back.
So meaning longer layer under short jacket.
Exactly.
Yes,
Because you yourself were wearing a lot of...
I still wear it.
Right.
I still wear it. Well, because most of my jackets are shorter and I like to wear tunics under that. I'm more comfortable with that though. I'm someone who, yes, the answer is yes, I will bring it back. I will start wearing it again and put it up on my story.
Gotcha. A client question we did get that I thought was interesting was, did you ever have a conversation with a client of yours that was coming on to the Rachel Zoe Project that said to you, I'm nervous about doing this, or I'm anxious, or I'm nervous to do like a reality docu TV thing? Or was everybody like, oh, I'm an actor and it's cool, or yeah, this is fine?
Not many. It was mostly, let me think about this. No, it wasn't. It was more like, no. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember. I think Anne Hathaway, if I remember correctly, was like she was a little confused, like how to be.
Right.
Like,
because they have to be themselves.
Right.
Right.
And I was like, just do you.
It's not a character.
No.
It's not a
like,
movie.
Right.
Yeah.
This is you, do you. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think it was more like a little tongue in cheek. It was more funny. Like they were sort of like, what do I do? And I just remember being like, just do you. Like, don't pretend nothing's happening. We're just doing us.
Got it. Another question you got a couple of times was, have you ever been on other reality TV shows?
Other reality TV shows.
Yes.
I was on The Simple Life.
You were on The Simple Life.
I was on
Which is
Project-
also coming back? Like, what's going on with that?
I don't
Paris
know.
and
Was that
Nicole
a
are
joke?
teasing it.
Was that a joke?
No, I don't think it's a joke. I think they're going to do some sort of rebirth of The Simple Life, and I'm here for it.
I thought it was a joke, but maybe it's not.
I don't think it's a joke.
I'm dying.
Okay, well, stay tuned for that.
What's old is new.
Here we are.
What else was I on? I was
you
on
were on
Simple
Project
Life.
Runway.
I was on Project Runway a bunch. Like I think I did Project Runway like 5 times.
You were on, I mean, it's not
America's
reality.
Next Top Model.
You were on an America's Next Top Model, and you did Gossip Girl, which wasn't reality TV.
Right. And I did Entourage.
And you did Entourage. Yeah. Those were your like major.
Well, what's so amazing is now I'm rewatching Gossip Girl with my kids because their friends are watching it. Skylar's girlfriends are like
the original one.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Okay.
There's only one.
There is only one.
And every guy wants to be Chuck Bass. And I was like, Sky, nice try. You are a Nate Archibald.
Oh yeah.
You are a Nate. You are not
No.
a Chuck. I'm so sorry, honey.
I'm here for that though. I think he should be a Chuck. I mean, yeah, I don't Chuck. Yeah,
He likes Blair.
Blair over
Serena.
Over Serena. Okay.
It's Team Blair.
Well,
That's
he likes brunettes.
Yeah.
Which,
Just like not his mother.
yeah, I mean, I get that too. I totally get that. Okay, everybody, we're gonna keep rewatching and keep chatting. Don't forget to DM us any questions that you have at Climbing in Heels Pod. And we're gonna have some fun, Rach. We're gonna have some surprises for you. Come on to talk about season 1. So stay tuned.
If you want more Climbing in Heels content, follow me on @Rachel Zoe and @Climbing in Heels Pod on Instagram for more updates on upcoming guests, episodes, and of course, all things Curator.
Does money stress you out? Let Facet flip your financial chaos into clarity.
We feel way more confident and secure in our finances, and with that comes a sense of freedom.
Financial planning from Facet is here to help you improve your life today, tomorrow, and every day after that.
Facet was really the place where we saw all of the tools and the people coming together.
Visit Facet.com, FACET.com to learn more. This ad is sponsored by Facet. Facet Wealth is an SEC registered investment advisor. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities, nor is it investment, legal, or tax advice. These testimonials are from current Facet members who are not compensated. All opinions are their own and not a guarantee of a similar outcome.